You're listening to the Just Jenna podcast, where we discuss all things mindset, real estate, social media strategy, and how to live life to its fullest. I'm a mom and seven-figure business owner who teaches other entrepreneurs how to leverage social media to increase their bottom line. Let's get started. Hello. Oh my goodness gracious. It has been a moment. And you probably heard me say this on the last podcast that I was on in the spring. Early spring, I came on here and talked about how I took a little bit of a break on here, and I thought I would return quickly, and that just wasn't the case. For those of you who have been following along my journey on social media, then you know that we built our dream home, and we visualized this thing and worked so hard to make it happen. And I had no idea how much work was going to be involved. But isn't that funny about life? Like, if you knew how much work was going to be involved in something you've accomplished, I mean, it could be getting a degree in something, or I don't know, having kids, right? Like, if you actually knew how much work was going to take, you probably wouldn't sign up for it. Well, that was building this house, man. We did everything with it. We built every little detail that we could think of and did it all at once. And it took us almost 24 months, just under. I think we were about 22 months build time on this. And we finally moved in May. It took me a couple of months to settle in and get all my decorations and all the fun stuff that I've gotten to share with you guys online. But now we're settled quite a bit and we're back in our routine, and it feels like the right time to come back on here and share with you guys my heart and my mindset and what I've been thinking about and how I can serve you guys, because gosh, there is nothing I love more than mentoring and training people and bringing them with me. If you have seen any of my language on Instagram, if you don't follow me at Jenna Peterson on Instagram, do so. But I've just been sharing a lot about how this message around, it's not about us. It's not about us, right? It's about all the other people that are following and listening. And I had this moment, I got a notification, there was a new review on the podcast. And I'm like, man, I haven't posted an episode in, 6-7 months. Someone's still listening to that. And I opened up my back office for the podcast and was looking at the analytics. And I'm like, man, I've had almost just a few shy away from 10,000 downloads on this podcast, and we've had 10 episodes. I'm like, well, that is about 1,000 downloads per episode that people are listening to this show. So there are people who need to hear this. And I don't care if it helps one person or 100 people today. The point is, you are in the right moment for the right purpose, and there's no one else better for the job than you. And it's so easy for me, even as a leader, to go, there's thousands of podcasts. Why would anyone choose mine? But I also have to change that script, flip the script and say, why wouldn't someone choose mine? Why wouldn't they want to hear what I have to say? God has given me a voice and a platform for a reason, so I need to use it. So today, our topic is going to be all on what you focus on grows. You've probably heard people share this message before, or this phrase, what you focus on expands, or what you focus on grows. And I think it would be appropriate to talk about this because we just closed a chapter in our life off the podcast. So you guys weren't really hearing about the chaos behind all of the last season that we were in building. But I thought it would be appropriate to share how true this message stands for our family and how much I believe in it for every single one of you that are listening to this right now or watching on YouTube, because I'll upload this on YouTube too for the video version. So what you focus on grows. What does this mean? I'm going to address it in 3 different points, break it down, and how you can apply it in your own life. So number 1, you got to get clear on the vision. When I say what you focus on grows, you might think, okay, great, I get that, but I don't know what to focus on. Okay, well, we got to get clear on what that is. And I will tell you that we had some of our biggest growth as a family over the last couple of years because we were clear on the vision. There's a phrase I want you to write down or pull over when you're done driving and write this down because I think it is so, so good. It says, when the vision is clear, the decisions are easy. Isn't that so true in life? Like, don't you feel sometimes where you're like, God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what decision to make. And then we have to look back and go, well, the vision isn't clear. What is the vision supposed to look like? And so once you can get clear on what that vision is and what you're working towards, or what you want to achieve, what you want to accomplish, or who you want to help, then you can get really clear on which decisions to make and where you should take your next step. So I want you guys to really get clear on your vision, number one. If you want to see radical change in your life, if you want to see huge growth, we have to get clear on the vision. For us, in this example today, ours was building this home. And I thought it was appropriate for those of you watching on video to show you what my little board that I had posted up on my office. It wasn't even an office at the time. Bedroom, shared office with my husband, all the things. Now I have a fancy office, but I didn't always have that. Was this picture. And for those of you who will recognize that picture, that is the front of the McGee & Co. brand and Shay McGee's house. Okay. Shout out to their brand because I do love them. I'm not paid to say that. But we had looked up to their architect and their design features for years. My husband and I just loved it. And we thought when it was time to build our house, we are going to get inspiration from that. And so I printed out that picture and I looked at it every single day. It was on the background of my phone. It was in our office. It was on our fridge. We stared at that thing. Why? Because the vision was clear. This is what we wanted our house to look like. We wanted to, obviously we weren't going to copy it, but you know what I mean. We got ideas from it and we wanted to build our dream home. There was no question in our mind where we were going. We had no question in our mind where we were going. The vision was very clear. So we got to work. As simple as that. Our focus was for 2 years straight, how are we going to make this happen? We got the land, barely. We got approved for a loan that was not even nearly enough what we needed, but we were on our way. We were going to figure it out. One of the first things we did was excavated the property ourselves. We got a bill for $25,000 to excavate the property. And my husband, Andrew, went out and purchased, this is how crazy we are, purchased an excavator, brand new. We wrote it off on our taxes, got a big, nice chunk of money back from that, and started excavating the property and kept that excavator on our property for the entire duration of the build. Now we rent that machine out to other people to use and make money off of it. So we started off with a bang. It took him 3 weeks. It would have taken an excavator 2 to 3 days. So you can kind of see why this timeline got dragged out real far. But the point was, we were going to figure it out because we knew what the goal was. We had the goal in mind. A lot of you guys are walking through life right now with no direction. You have no idea what you want to accomplish or no idea where you want to go. And I hear you, but I want you to pick something. I want you to understand that just because you pick a direction, it doesn't mean that you can't pivot later. It doesn't mean that you can't change your job or change your location, or there's so many turns in life that God takes us on. And so I want us to stop feeling so frozen that we have to pick the perfect answer and look more at where is our heart postured. What does our heart look like when we're making this decision? For us, it was very clear that the home that we wanted to build would be a dwelling place for us to bring people in, to invite people in, which we have already been able to do through our guest house. We have people that have stayed back there, and we're excited to host more people in the future and just continue to recognize that this is not ours, right? So that was number one. I want to go to number two. Your mindset matters. And we've all heard mindset, blah, blah, blah. But a positive mindset, a can-do mindset, a we will figure this out mindset takes you so much further than I think people realize. So for example, when we were getting started with the build, this podcast episode is going to be around that because that's been the biggest thing that's happened in our life in the last 6 months is moving in here. So we thought, oh my gosh, we are crazy. The bank, remember, they only lent us a certain amount of money. But when we started to put the budget together and we got bids back and we really started going, and once we started figuring out more finishes and the house got bigger because we added an upstairs, we started to get real expensive real fast, meaning we did not have enough money on a loan, a construction loan, to be able to cover the expenses. And so we broke it down. We figured out how much short are we short, which was a total guess. We had no idea, but this was a guess. This is how much short we are. Here's how long that the build is approximately going to take. Here's what we need to make every month. That number that we were short was over $65,000 in addition to our monthly expenses. So on top of our fixed, costs that we can't change, like shelter, food, utilities, all those things, we needed to bring in an additional $65K per month. Okay. Most people would be like, you're crazy. What are you doing? I mean, in years past, we had never made that kind of money in our life. Well, here's where your mindset matters. I'll never forget, it's midnight. The amount of nights that we stayed up till midnight too in the last 2 years was crazy while we were building. Our kids would go to bed because my husband and I wouldn't see each other during the day. I'd be working all day and he'd be at the house all day because he was the builder. He was building this house. So we'd get home, we were both exhausted, and we would sit in this office, shared office upstairs, right across the street from our kids' bedroom. We had a whisper and the walls were paper thin. And he looks at me and he tells me the number. He says, Jenna, this is what we're going to have to do if we want to do this. Like we could sell this to an investor right now. We could, change our plans and change everything. Like, what do we want to do? And I looked at him and I said, we got this. And he's like, I can't contribute to that though. I'm not going to be able to go and get another job. I'm not going to be able to go and work. I'm here all day, all night at this house trying to save us money so that we are able to make it happen as well. And I had this unwavering belief that we would figure it out. And you know what's so crazy is we did. But along the way, there were so many God winks and so many moments where we could have given up. Multiple people stole money from us. Someone ran away with $15,000 of ours. We had people who, how construction can get. If you haven't ever built a house before, like a custom build, it's one of the most challenging experiences I've ever gone through. And we've done it 4 or 5 times now. That's just what we do. But I will tell you that nothing will strengthen your marriage more than going through that with differing opinions. But we did it very well. I will say, Andrew and I got closer through each of these experiences. And I really believe it's a testament of God's grace and his goodness in our life. And just knowing that we didn't do it alone. We kept him at the center. And so we have no idea how it happened other than we were so dead set on what we needed to do. I worked essentially 2 full-time jobs. So I'm a full-time real estate agent, and I launched my coaching business at the start of all this. And the coaching business really was born from a need, not a place of I need to make money, but more so a need of I've got to help these people because I'm getting flooded with questions on how to generate leads on Instagram, how to use social media to build your business. I got to help these people. And I think this is a side note, but I think it's a good factor to bring into the story when we're talking about, gosh, how can I make money, right? I hear so many people say that and they're trying to think of $1 million idea. That's not what went through my head. What went through my head initially was, I'm doing fine selling houses. I'm doing really well. Not how can I make more money, but how can I help more people? My initial thought process was, how can I go and help more people? And I knew that I could help people on social media. So my first goal was $10,000. And then it was $25,000. And then my goal became, I just want to make $100,000 from coaching in 12 months. Guys, that's about $8,000 a month. That was my goal. And it wasn't until several months later when we found out that we were $65K a month short on what we needed to do, which is wild to even say out loud, that it all worked out. I don't know how else to explain it other than when you know the direction you're going and you are like, God, use me. I am here. I am willing and able to work. He made it happen. Honestly, he made it happen. So I know that's maybe not exactly what you want to hear, but I truly believe that we reached the goal because we said we are willing to do what is possible. And another really cool thing, side note, is the amount of people that we got to minister to on our job site during the 22 months of the build was the most beautiful thing, by the way. We had obviously, hundreds of different people on our job site throughout the entire process. And some of these people really opened up, especially to my husband. He has a really cool story that he'll have to come on the podcast soon and share. I would love for you guys to hear it. But anyway, none of it was by accident. So here we are now, and we're super, super happy with the final product and so thankful to not be paying construction bills anymore. But also, we don't have a huge amount of debt on the property now either, which I think is important to say because we see this image of what people want to achieve and they feel like they have to go into crazy amounts of debt in order to achieve it. And we didn't want to do that. We probably could have gotten a second loan or changed our loan amount down the line, and we decided not to do that. We actually didn't even end up using all of the line of credit that the bank gave us because we came in with so much cash. And so all that to be said, live within your means. That's a total tangent, but let's get back on track to point number 3. Point number 3 is income producing activity. So here's where the woo meets the work, I guess you could say. Like, yes, the mindset matters. And yes, you have to believe that it can happen. You also have to do the work. Newsflash, right? So I want you to ask yourself, what tasks are going to contribute the most to my growth? So during this time of us building this crazy house and experiencing a lot of growth in other areas of our life too, not just with our real estate, but we had to focus on what was going to move the needle, right? If we were spending our time, I don't know, doing something else that wasn't going to actually produce the fruit, then we weren't going to succeed. So I knew one of the non-negotiables for me was posting on social media. Well, you can better believe that at 9 a.m. every single day for the last 365 days, my phone buzzed and went off during this time to remind me to post a video or a live video or some sort of reel, some sort of forward-facing content on my social media by 9 a.m. Now, I was doing the podcast during some of this time, which was also helping a lot with generating leads. If you guys aren't using some sort of long form content, I highly recommend it. So that was working. But in addition to that, I was so dang consistent. And I still am. I've never lost that because I have recognized that if we continue to do the small tasks, if we continue to stay consistent on the things that don't seem like they matter, it doesn't seem like it's going to matter if I post a reel today or not, right? Not a big deal. I can skip a day and I can just pick it back up tomorrow. But that's where you're wrong because there's someone watching today that's going to see your reel that won't see it tomorrow based on the algorithm. They're just not going to see all your posts. And so the person today might have been the one that was ready to write the check, but the person tomorrow isn't. So what I mean by that is just show up every single day. Be consistent in your activity. What are the tasks that you need to do in order to achieve that goal that you have? For us, again, I needed to post on social media daily. In addition to that, I needed to talk to people. So I would spend another hour in the mornings just messaging people. Our kids were going to school at the time. They're homeschooled now, which is so fun. But during this season of growth, we were just all hands on deck. I was working 2 full-time jobs. Again, my husband was working overtime. And so we had them in school, and that was really helpful for us for a while. So they were in school all day long. And during that time, I maximized my conversations with people because conversations equal conversion. If you're not having conversations with people, you're not converting. I cannot stand that people are accustomed to the fact now that if they just post a link that everyone's going to buy. Do you recognize how backwards our society is in some ways on social media? Like we think that we just have to post a link and people will purchase. And yeah, that can happen for some people. And I did experience that. But even now, I've gone back to qualifying people through applications, getting on the phone with people and having a conversation before we decide what program is going to be the best fit. And the reason that I recommend that is because you actually end up getting a way better sales process. And you also are able to have so much more clarity on what is the best fit for someone. Where are they going to thrive the most? So we were having lots of conversations, tons of conversations every single day. I have this thing called the 555 rule. You can totally steal it. Basically, it's for new people that are growing on social media. I want you to follow up with 5 people. I want you to engage with 5 new people. And I want you to make 5 new connections. So let me say that again. 5 new connections, 5 follow-ups, and 5 engagements. So you can follow up with 5 people you've talked to in the past. You can engage with 5 new or old people. I don't really care. And then I want you to meet 5 new people a day. When you continue to do that day in and day out, it compounds. If you haven't read the book, The Compound Effect or Atomic Habits, both of them are amazing. And they talk about real life science behind this, the psychology behind it, there's so many examples in both of these books that they give where you can see how this actually changes people's lives. Like when I post on my Instagram that 1 reel a day changed our life, I'm not joking. 1 reel a day over the course of years and years and years really did change our life. Or I should say 1 post a day because reels weren't always around. But for the last almost decade, I've been posting once a day. So you can see how, that doesn't seem like a lot. Cool, Jenna, that's great for you. I mean, that doesn't seem that hard. No, I'm not saying it's hard. I'm not saying any of this is hard, but what I'm saying is you have to be consistent in what you decide. And so let's just recap this again. Number 1, I want you to get clear on your vision. When the vision is clear, the decisions are easy. Number 2, I want you to remind yourself that mindset does matter. And if you're having issues with that, or you are recognizing that you do have a mindset issue, you're not in the right place, maybe you do need to talk to someone. Maybe you do need to surround yourself with people or a particular person who is going to set you straight and hold you accountable to that mindset and give you strategy around how to have a positive mindset. Number 3, I want you to prioritize your income producing activity first thing in the day. When we prioritize that, so for example, I've been doing some workout challenges and I just completed a round of 21 days where I worked out every single day. And I'm almost finishing it, sorry. But the whole point of that is, when do you think I did the workout every day? 9 o'clock at night? 12 o'clock in the day? No. First thing when I woke up, I had my clothes ready, already laid out the night before, and I walked into our workout room and worked out. And then I went on with my day. Why did I do that? Because I was prioritizing it. And I'm recognizing that when we prioritize something first before we do anything else, you're not going to miss it. You're not going to get distracted by the rest of the day or bogged down by just not feeling like doing it. You get it done. So all this being said, I try to keep these episodes short, like around 20 minutes or less. If this was something that you loved our episode today, would you please share it with a friend? I would love to hear your guys' feedback on social media too, because it has been a minute since I've been on here, but I am so excited to come back. And I truly believe that the time is better than ever before to not only grow on social media, to build a brand, to invest in real estate, to invest in yourself, to grow, to reach heights that you never thought were possible. The best is yet to come. And the time is now, friends. There is no better time than the present to get started. So if you want to inquire about working with me in a high level capacity or a part of my mastermind, I will link in the show notes below an application that you can fill out and we can be in touch with you very shortly. Thank you guys for listening to the Just Jenna podcast, and I'll see you on the next episode.